dreaming of a solid 8 uninterrupted hours of sleep? Then I've got the 4 sleep tips to help you stay asleep and calm your anxiety at night. Hey, I'm Sarah. I'm an anxiety, gut, and acting naturopath. And I know there's nothing worse than waking up in the middle of the night, noticing it's pitch black outside, and you feel wide awake. And then bam, here comes an onslaught of thoughts. You know, your to-dos, your worries, your concerns. You can basically kiss going back to sleep goodbye until your mind kind of bores enough to eventually fall back to sleep, if it does at all. That's why today I'm going to give you the tips to stop that early morning awakening so that you can finally get the 8 hours of sleep you truly deserve. Number 1 is have a full meal for dinner that's got plenty of complex carbs and fiber. Now I know it's incredibly common for people to be cautious of having carbs at dinner, but it is incredibly beneficial if you're having the right types. Because the thing is, your blood sugar must remain stable overnight to keep you alive and to keep you asleep. So if you have the right types of carbs at night, this keeps your blood sugar really stable all night. But let's imagine that you don't have any complex carbs or good fiber at night. What happens is your blood sugar will start to drop lower and lower because your last source of carbs was at lunchtime. Now, when your blood sugar drops too low, what your body does is find blood sugar from elsewhere. So it goes and knocks on your adrenals door and it asks for a release of cortisol. Now, cortisol is phenomenal at keeping you alive because what it does is it encourages your blood sugar to increase so that your brain and your body have enough sugar to keep you functioning. But as we all know, cortisol also has some negative consequences. The big one when it comes to sleep is that cortisol is stimulating. It's the hormone that actually wakes you up in the morning. So what happens if you don't have any carbs at night? Well, your blood sugar starts to drop lower and lower, which means your cortisol spikes way too early and it ends up waking you up prematurely. So what you need to do is have good complex carbs and fiber for dinner time so that can keep your blood sugar stable all night and cortisol doesn't have to come to the rescue. Now, simple sugars do the opposite effect to complex carbs. Simple sugars found in soft drinks, chocolate, and junk food that we typically have after dinner actually cause a quick spike in your blood sugar. That's what normally gives you that energy after eating sweets. But the thing is, it also causes a rapid drop in blood sugar. When that blood sugar drops, if you haven't eaten any other food to get blood sugar from, then cortisol comes to the rescue to help bring your blood sugar back up again, and again, starts to make you feel alert and wake you up in the night. So my recommendation is have complex carbs and fiber for dinner. These are things like potatoes, beans, legumes, and healthy grains like rice and quinoa. Number 2 is magnesium and taurine. So just like we learned in the previous episode, magnesium and taurine are brilliant at helping you get to sleep fast. But what they also do is help keep you asleep throughout the night. The main way they do this is via the neurotransmitter GABA. So magnesium and taurine help increase the GABA receptors response in your brain and increase the amount of GABA actually in your brain. Now, GABA is important not only for anxiety because it's the anti-anxiety neurotransmitter that makes you feel calm, but GABA is also the neurotransmitter that keeps you asleep throughout the night, keeps you peaceful and relaxed. So I recommend starting with 300 to 600 milligrams of equivalent magnesium per night, but watch out because too much magnesium in one go can cause you to reach bowel tolerance, and then start with 3 grams of taurine before bed as well. Number 3, reduce your stress before bed. I know if you're feeling stressed and wired but really exhausted, usually the point of call is, I'm just going to sleep it off and I'll deal with it in the morning. Now, if you're exhausted enough, you might be getting off to sleep totally fine. But the problem is, you've gone to sleep feeling stressed, which means your cortisol is at a higher threshold. Now, you're falling asleep and your cortisol might drop a little bit, but it's generally higher than we want when we're relaxed. Now, the thing is, your cortisol will naturally start to pick up in the early hours of the morning to wake you up around that 6, 7 a.m. mark. But if your cortisol is starting way higher and it starts to increase ready to wake you up, you're going to reach that wake threshold way too early than if you're relaxed and your cortisol is down here and it starts to peak and it hits the wake threshold at 6 or 7 a.m. And just like we mentioned before, when your cortisol reaches that wake threshold too early, you start becoming sensitive to noise and sensations, and that wakes you up prematurely in the early hours of the morning. So my recommendation is make sure you de-stress or work through your stress before going to bed. You need to bring that cortisol threshold back down enough that it doesn't spike too early in the early hours of the morning. Number 4 is muscle relaxation and deep breathing. So while the other 3 techniques are things that you can employ before you go to bed to make sure you get a complete uninterrupted sleep, this technique is going to help you if you wake up during the night. Now, what I want you to do is when you wake up, start to focus on your breathing. This particular technique has been used in army training to help soldiers get to sleep when they're in a volatile environment. So it really helps relax the mind and relax the body enough to induce you into sleep again. So what you do is you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and then part your lips slightly and breathe out, making that little whooshing sound for 8 seconds, hold for 3 seconds, and repeat. So let's try one now. I want you to breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and then part your lips slightly and breathe out, making that whooshing sound for 8 seconds. Hold for 3 seconds and repeat. Now, once you've got into the habit of doing a couple of those breaths and feeling your body start to relax, I want you to start relaxing your muscles. So as you lie there, pay attention to each of your muscles. You'll be starting with your forehead and basically pay attention and actively try to relax it. So let go and disengage from holding those muscles tense. Once you can feel your forehead start to relax a bit, move to your jaw muscles and do the same thing. When you feel your jaws actively let go and relax, you'll feel like your jaw kind of slightly unhinges and pulls down. Then start going through each of the rest of your muscles, starting with your neck, going your torso, your arms and your legs, all the way to your little tootsies. Now, you might not even reach your feet by the time you fall asleep, but this process is meant to relax you to at least ground your body back down and get you back into a deep, lulling sleep. Now, use these 4 tips to stop yourself from waking up in the night, or at least get you back to sleep quicker if you do happen to wake up. Now over to you. I would absolutely love to know if you have any tips or techniques that you use to help you stay asleep throughout the night or to fall back to sleep quicker, especially if anxiety seems to be on the mind. And remember, your anxiety is not your destiny. Your solution is out there, and a life beyond your wildest dreams is just around the corner. Till next time. Eyebrow, you will stay. You will stay as I've commanded you to stay. Dreaming of a solid 8 hour to calm your anxiety at night.